Welcome to Alpha Wave Finance, July 12, 2025. In the last 24 hours, the financial landscape has shifted dramatically. Emerging markets surged, crypto hit new highs, energy stocks wavered, and bond yields shifted. These events aren't random, they form a story of opportunity. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll unpack what these moves mean for your wealth. Stick with me because your next move might depend on this. Brazil shocked the world by cutting interest rates by 50 basis points today, stimulating its stock market by 3% and bolstering investor sentiment in Latin America. That move rippled across emerging market ETFs, with currencies like the Brazilian real strengthening by 1.8%. For global investors, this is more than a regional story. It sets a template for monetary flexibility elsewhere. Keep an eye on your emerging market exposure. Timing matters. China announced a pilot for government-issued NFTs to represent land deeds and public assets for 50 million users. This isn't hype, it's structural innovation in digital ownership. The move bridges crypto infrastructure with real-world assets, making tokenization tangible. Global investors should see this as a shift from speculation to real utility. If blockchain was once abstract, now it's practical. Tesla plunged 8% intraday after Elon Musk hinted at a temporary production pause to retool factories, triggering investor anxiety. The volatility showed how sensitive markets are to execution risk, even for established names. For long-term investors, paused production may shoot margins later. For traders, it's a chance to buy the dip. Either way, being nimble paid off. Bitcoin surged past $112,000 after spot ETF inflows reached $2 billion in 48 hours, continuing the trend of institutional adoption. That level of real cash entering the market shows crypto is no longer fringe. Bitcoin is seeking legitimacy as global digital gold, and that shifts risk perceptions. If you're outside, now's the time to reconsider. Ethereum outperformed again, gaining 6% after a DeFi protocol launched interoperability with major Layer 2 chains, a structural development, not mere speculation. This makes cross-chain finance more fluid and secure, reducing friction in lending and staking. For DeFi participants, inter-chain connectivity opens new yield and use cases. Momentum is shifting deeper into utility. Oil prices dipped 2% after Saudi Arabia reportedly hinted at easing production cuts in private discussions. That move surprised markets expecting tight global balance. For energy investors, this signals the fragility of upstream cost structures. If your portfolio includes energy, monitor OPEC signals closely. They still move prices. Gold steadied near $3,350 an ounce despite yields rising, showing its safe haven role remains intact. U.S. 10-year yields climbed to 4.5%, pressuring some asset classes but not pulling gold down. That dynamic suggests inflation anxiety persists. For diversification, gold remains a core hedge, especially when yields and stocks both wobble. U.S. high-yield bond spreads widened slightly after corporate earnings from retail and leisure disappointed. That minor correction signals caution creeping into credit markets. For income-seeking investors, this is a reminder. Don't ignore credit quality. Opportunistic buying may work, but only within a measured risk framework. Nvidia stocks dipped slightly, pulling back from all-time highs after profit-taking and regulatory headlines around AI exports. Still, its broader trend remains strong amid AI's continued dominance. For tech portfolios, trimming gains can be smart, but staying exposed to AI's long-term drivers remains crucial. Amazon saw a 5% jump following strong Prime Day sales data, with revenue beating expectations by 7%. Consumer resilience remains a key driver of global growth. If retail is in your playbook, data like this underpins a bullish case. Sales momentum could mask underlying inflation, so watch margins closely. UK inflation came in lower at 2.8%, bolstering the pound and giving the BOE room to pause rate hikes. Sterling strengthened 1.2% on the news. For Forex traders, that move highlights how inflation headlines shift currency momentum. If you hold UK assets or use hedges, this is core data. South Korean exporters posted a 3% jump after semiconductor demand in AI surged. The export-driven economy is rebounding, lifting the won by 0.9%. If your global equity basket includes Korea, this tech boom matters. Expos to Samsung and SK Hynix may now bring double benefits, growth and currency boost. A major consumer credit report revealed U.S. household debt growth slowed to its lowest pace in 2 years. That suggests American consumers are managing costs more carefully. For sectors tied to discretionary spending, this is a mixed signal, cautious but stable. It matters for retail, travel, and leisure positioning. In commodities, nickel and zinc prices surged 9% and 7%, driven by supply disruptions in Southeast Asia. That supports a broader rally in base metals beyond copper. For inflation-sensitive portfolios, these gains matter. Commodity diversification can protect against inflation surprises. U.S. tech M&A saw a big announcement, a $6 billion acquisition in cybersecurity, uniting two major cloud security players. Investors cheered on consolidation and synergy potential. For tech watchers, M&A isn't just headlines, it's strategic reshuffling. If you're in tech, this changes competitive maps. The Fed released minutes hinting at a possible pause after inflation shows signs of cooling. Markets reacted with a cautious rally in equities. Traders now price in fewer rate hikes. For portfolio strategy, lower rates could mean opportunity in duration plays, bonds, utilities, and growth. European natural gas storage hit 90% capacity as winter trade resumed after shortages, supporting energy security. That stabilizes Europe's winter outlook but raises seasonal demand expectations. Energy portfolios should factor in regional storage dynamics. Supply shocks are still possible. In fintech, PayPal announced pilot crypto remittances to Mexico and the Philippines, processing small-scale user crypto to fiat transactions. This is a real pivot toward mainstream cross-border crypto utility. If digital payments are your focus, this is structural change unfolding. Looking ahead this week, China's GDP release, Fed chair testimony, OPEC meeting, U.S. CPI data. But today's moves framed how things might land. Stay sharp. The week could define global direction. Hit like, subscribe, and comment your angle, your perspective enriches this journey.